Boys, I got another controversial video for you guys today. So I was listening to Joe Rogan, and he was talking to the FBI director, Kash Patel. He's a new FBI director. I guess he's pushing for a place where spots where the FBI can improve their work loads and their efficiency. Basically, now, I listened to the whole podcast. Kash Patel sounds like an outstanding guy. I could never do or amounts to even half of what he's done in his life. I completely trust him, except there's one thing that it did not come through, and let's just react to it, right?
An experience.
Let's just get to it because I know it's on people.
Let me change my. There we go. Okay. Oops.
People's mind. Epstein, right? The reason people are pissed off about that is the same thing, right? 20 years ago, or whenever it was, 2006, 7, 8, Epstein gets his sweetheart plea deal, right?
Right.
After committing the most horrific crimes on planet Earth, right? I wasn't in power there. I wasn't in place there. I had, nothing to do with it. But people were rightfully pissed. I mean, this guy was committing the most grotesque acts you can against children. And the media spins up about it. Many in the media protected him. Why? Because of his relationships, who he knew, who his bankers were, who his colleagues were, who was on the island and stuff like that. Some pretty powerful human beings. Yep. And so when you peel back the layer, and then what happened? The Trump administration, the last go-around, decided, no, we're not going to let that go. We're going to investigate him, right? They charge him, they indict him, and he's awaiting trial. And I've said it, Dan Bongino said it, we've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think...
Okay, so he keeps saying this on and on in the whole podcast. They're going to release whatever they have. But then he puts a little apostrophe. He's like, whatever we can. We'll release whatever we can. And we already know CIA, FBI, they will, censor almost everything.
Let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think we would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on? But the problem is
I think you would, for the safety of your family, for the safety of yourself, and maybe even money.
Been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us?
True.
Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you?
True.
If it existed? I'm working my ass off, along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ, to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video of the cell. And you're going to...
I just said we are going to give you what we're allowed to give you.
See for yourself. And we will never be able to convince everyone.
He's saying that he's going to release the video of him doing that. And...
Okay, let's get into that. So, what did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
No.
No suspicion at all of it?
But I have a different background, right?
Right.
So I was a public defender back in the day. I used to spend a lot of time in jails and a lot of time in segregated housing units, SHUs as we call them, right? And so, and I've known people that have committed suicide in these cells. And I know how you get in, how you get out, who works the system. And so the way, based on public information at the time, that he ended up the pictures and him hanging himself, I was like, man, that guy killed himself. There's just no way that you could have run an op and had people go into that cell and not have any video of it and not have any people come out and say, hey, yeah, I saw that guy, he shouldn't have been there, the guard or this guy. There's just no access points into places like this in the detention center he was in, which I've been in.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but what I was told,
why is there not multiple guards? He was on deleting himself watch. Why wasn't there a bunch of guards? Why was
read was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Yep.
Well,
right.
And in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right? Like, where they and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten into the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
So why wasn't that released immediately?
And this is what I noticed. FBI agents, CIA agents are really good at not answering questions directly.
Why did this speculation escalate?
I think you'd have to ask whoever the Attorney General back then was, Bill Barr.
Did you ever see? Do you remember that HBO autopsy show? Dr. Michael Baden. He's a famous forensic
I don't think I've seen
scientist. So he's a pathologist, and he reviewed the case, and it was his determination that it was a homicide because of the way his neck was broken. And what he said was it was indicative of a ligature strangulation, and it was because of the positioning on the neck where the marks were that it wasn't indicative of someone hanging by their weight, which had been higher on the chin. And there's a specific break of the bones and the vertebrae that's consistent with someone who is just strangled to death.
I haven't seen it. I'll definitely take a look at it because that's part of my job.
You haven't
Brother, have you not seen this, you know? I mean, I guess if it's just a random guy, you know. I haven't seen it. But
seen that?
The report?
I guess- I
No, I
guess he
haven't looked
would
at
know.
that.
Did you see any?
But that's his job, you know? That's his job.
Was there any other autopsy done other than the official one?
Not to my knowledge, but if there was, you'll get
There
it.
should
And that's
be
what we're
multiple
doing.
ones.
See if
There
you
should
can
be
find that
multiple.
Dr. Michael Baden thing.
Yeah. No,
Did you
I'll-
remember that show, the HBO show?
No.
Pretty cool show.
Yeah,
So this guy, Dr. Michael Baden, he had a long career of catching murderers, you know, exhuming bodies, finding trace amounts of poisons, different kinds of things. And it was a crazy show, like all these wild ways.
Well, I love watching shows. And I spend a lot of time on planes.
Yeah, it was an old show. It was a
Okay.
show like from the early 2000s, I believe. But
Never seen
this
it.
guy was, like, you know, this very well-respected forensic scientist who would analyze these bodies, and it was his determination that he was murdered.
Yeah. And my job,
Hey.
going back to the core of what I've been doing
That
since I
sounds-
started Russiagate, was
that
to
sounds
get,
right.
and
Right.
is to get everybody the information.
When did you get here? Epstein's autopsy points to homicide. Pathologist hired by brother claims. New York City medical examiner strongly disputed the claim that the evidence from the autopsy suggested strangulation. So let's go. By the way, this is the New York Times, and they never lie. The private pathologist, Dr. Michael Baden,
That
said the
cracks
morning
me up
TV show
every
Fox
time.
and Friends, Mr. Epstein experienced a number of injuries, among them a broken bone in his neck, that are extremely unusual in suicidal hangings and could occur much more commonly in homicidal strangulation. I think the evidence points to homicide rather than suicide, said Dr. Baden, who observed the autopsy done by city officials. Dr.
By the
Baden,
way, I'm
a
spitting
former
up
New York
the
City
video.
medical examiner and a Fox News contributor, said, I have not seen in 50 years where that occurred in suicidal hanging case. Findings by Dr. Baden were strongly disputed by the city's chief medical examiner, Dr. Barbara Sampson, who previously ruled that Mr. Epstein's death on August 10th in the Metropolitan Correctional Center was a suicide. I stand firmly behind our determination of the cause and manner of death in this case. Dr. Sampson said in the interview on Wednesday. She added, in general, fractures of the hyoid bone and cartilage can be seen in suicides and homicides. The hyoid bone is near the Adam's apple. Dr. Sampson also dismissed Dr. Baden's contention that the circumstances around Mr. Epstein's death suggested other people may have been involved. She said her office had done a complete investigation, taking into consideration information gathered by law enforcement in making the determination.
So this is a perfect example of going back to my public defender and prosecutor days. This is what we call a war of experts. You can
Right,
always find
right,
someone
right.
to come in and say the opposite.
Right.
And I used to do it all the time. I mean,
That's
I
true.
represented some of the worst humans that you can possibly imagine on Earth. Literally, the guys that were trafficking children from Mexico into America. And you could put up a professional expert to say, and this is what's going to go on forever. And my job is not the forever. My job is to get you absolutely everything that we can give you. And that's what we're going to do.
When did you become aware of this video that showed that no one had gone in and out of the cell?
Recently.
So why was it recent, though? I mean, if this death was, how long ago was this
Damn.
death? 2 years?
Holy
couple-
shit.
2019?
2019.
Oh, really? Wow, time flies. So 6 years.
Well, again, that's part of what I'm going to try to answer for you.
Jeffrey Epstein jail CCTV erased by technical errors. Whoopsies.
Yeah.
But you see how anybody on the outside, I mean, this is like a perfect storm
Yeah.
for something. Can you pull that article up so we can read what it says, Jimmy? U.S. prosecutor said the jail mistakenly saved footage from the wrong cell. Sorry, Epstein, a convicted sex offender, first tried to kill himself in July last year and hanged himself in jail.
hang on,
Oh,
hang
he
on,
has a
hang on.
Yep.
MacBook.
Reread that line.
That he first tried to kill himself in July of last year. Yeah.
How much of the American public do you think knows that?
I didn't know that until right now.
There you go.
Maybe I heard it and forgot. Did you ever hear it, Jamie?
That's why he's on suicide watch, I think.
Oh, okay.
So a
Hanged
guy,
himself in jail in August while serving trial on federal sex trafficking charge. He pleaded not guilty to abusing dozens of girls, some as young as 14. Soon after Epstein's death in August, two of the CCTV cameras outside his cell had malfunctioned and were being examined by the FBI. Found semi-conscious in his prison cell with injuries on his neck. On 25 of July, after this incident, he's placed on suicide watch.
I'm not saying every single camera in the place was working. I'm saying we've got footage and you're getting it. And
When?
then you can make up
When
your
are
own
we
mind,
getting it?
and
Right.
the theories can continue. But my job
So
is to give
you
the
became
information.
aware of this footage recently,
The ones that we're looking at, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, but this is like
When
an
did we
article
get
from
it?
quite a while ago that was saying that the footage was mistakenly erased.
Look, I mean, it goes back to the same. Ask the people that were in power then. I mean, I get it that
Yeah, it's-
you want to hold me to account for their
She
actions.
said-
and
No, I'm not
not you,
saying-
not you,
I'm not saying that.
not you. Just the public in general, and that's okay.
What's confusing to everybody today? First of all, it's very confusing because AI can kind of make anything.
That's-
Which has got to be a bizarre position for
what
you to
I'm
be in
talking about.
when you're looking at videos. I mean, I've watched Viking videos; look real as fuck. You know.
They could just be stalling for time right now, you know? How do we know? We don't know.
make Viking towns. I mean, it's really quite incredible what they're doing now, and it accelerates every month. I mean, I talked to Elon about it, and he said we're blown away literally every week. Every week there's some new breakthrough. We're like, wow, we didn't expect that.
Well, I can tell you after having looked at it, this ain't going to be AI.
You don't think so?
You're gonna. It's just not great. You know, it's like if it were AI, like someone wanted to come in and make it, they'd make it better.
But why would you make it better when people could, you could have ambiguous footage that is, totally generated by AI. I mean, AI can generate blurry images. AI can generate night vision. AI can generate essentially anything that's already existed.
Yeah, that's my point, dude. I don't know, dude. If they had it, they would release it right away. I guess they gotta, dot the dots and dot the I's and make sure everything's perfect, and they don't make mistakes. But I think they should just release it. What's the point of them just holding it? Just buying. It's just, to me, it sounds like they're buying time for them to create an AI video where this is kind of how it is. Now, I didn't hear this in the news, but hopefully, they release the video soon, and the sooner the better, because then that would validate, it would be more authentic. I'll talk to you guys all later, and peace out.